Landy Alter yesterday, and he said the price of paving has gone up to $160,000 a mile.
Wow.
And he said by the first of the month it's probably going to be 170. He said it's just gone through the roof. He says I don't know when it's going to stop. He said, and that's we had $500,000 in our paving budget, and I think the state gave us not enough to pave a mile.
Okay.
But now the state aid roads, they give us quite a bit of money, but state aid, that's the state gives us money. I think it's $600,000, but that's for that's maintaining the shop, all the equipment, payroll. I think it's $6,000. I've made some notes here. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, $223,000 is what they gave last year. That's probably a set amount, and Megan won't know until we close out this year's budget. Until then, what we'll get from the state.
Okay, and I know that going into this budget, wasn't there a shortfall already?
Well, we didn't have a shortfall exactly. We gave him $500,000. That's what we gave him out of our budget, and at $160,000 a mile, you can't go very many miles.
And I can understand that, and I remember, and this was well before your time on the commission. I think there was money, there was a purchase of the equipment to actually do, I think, cold mix. They have the equipment. I mean, I'm just wondering if they have that equipment, why not just liquidate it and use the surplus money to help?
I don't know, and I don't know how much we're going to get for that. We've got two pieces of equipment out there now. There's an old road grader that's been there I think Steve said his daddy operated it.
That's old.
That's his daddy worked for the road supervisor for years. It's just about worn out.
Yeah, I would think at this point, yeah, it probably is. Um, Next question really doesn't affect you. If you talk with any sitting commissioners, learn about the job. I mean, you're already sitting commissioner, you know about the job.
Yeah.
I had a separate message about a different issue here. Okay, the next question we're going to ask you about, because this is something that's kind of popped its head back up and being discussed quite a bit in this election. You support building a multi-use facility or
No.
okay?
No. I have to agree with what everybody's saying. We only have one event large enough to need something like that, and they're going to Decatur County once a year. And with the prices of construction now, who knows how much an event center would cost. Somebody mentioned the old Brown Shoe Company building. I know that's 40,000 square feet, but the roof is leaking and there's mold and mildew in the building, and I don't know if 40,000 square feet is big enough.
I have no clue, but and the only upside I see with that there's ample parking there, but
And it belongs to the county.
but one thing too I've noticed that I think the school buses are parked there. All the buses that are driven by school employees.
I don't know. They're parked in several different places.
Okay, yeah, because I think I've seen that out there quite a few times riding
Okay.
by. Alrighty, next question we got for you. All right, building inspection permits. You
No.
form an
No.
alrighty.
No. If I were going to build a house, I'd find me a good contractor, somebody that has some experience, that has had a good reputation for building in years. Robert Pratt, for instance. Robert, I think he said the inspectors help him a lot, but all these guys, all these contractors have a contractor's license, so they're licensed to do everything.
Right.
But I'm sure they all hire subs.
Yeah,
But they don't hire some shade trees to do their electrical work, their drywall, their painting, their framing.
Right. Well, and I'm kind of like you. I would think that you can find a solid contractor that understands the value of reputation.
Oh yes.
You get somebody who doesn't have a good reputation. Next thing you know, in this small area, nobody's going to use them again.
That's right.
It doesn't take long
I
at all
think
for
that
that to happen.
probably has already happened.
I wouldn't argue with you none on that there. Well, and that kind of leads into the next question: zoning.
Nope.
That's
That's I'm not for zoning. That again is just like the building permits. The only building permit you're going to have is inspected that I'm aware of is in the county. There's none other than the electrical inspector,
right.
and he's the one that writes the letter of occupation
Right.
when he puts the blue sticker on the panel.
It's good to go.
It's good to go.
That's it. And I would think that even then, I mean, it's probably not a finished product that he's inspecting. It should be a multi, a frame up rough in, and then, I'm sure at the tail end he's probably doing a test run on everything, make sure everything's okay.
Oh yeah, he do. You have to do a rough in and then a finish, and then they'll come back and look at it before you put the cover plates on it.
Yeah.
That's I think it's $38 each trip.
Right. That's and like I said, we do have inspection points there. Next thing, which I already know where you stand on it, but I got to ask it anyway.
Okay.
Property tax increase.
No, I have never voted for a property tax increase, and I've never seen a good reason to do it. We haven't raised taxes in the county. The last time it affected us in the county, of course I live in the city, it was in 2023, I believe it was, when they had the new appraisal,
Right.
and mine went up a lot. My house was appraised almost double what the previous year.
And I agree with you on that there. When I when I was doing, people were sending in information, and I try to get a gauge on where the trip point was. But what really stood out to me was, it had to reach a certain percentage before your taxes went up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if it didn't reach that percentage, then if it stayed at that percentage, your taxes never changed. But if it's below that percentage point, then your taxes went down.
Yes.
And one of the things that I saw that kind of, based on a few things that I looked at, was people in mobile homes, low dollar homes, and I'm going to say probably less than $100,000. They saw a decrease,
Yes.
and that makes sense.
Yes.
People in high end homes, let's say Eastern Shores, Beasley Place, they saw a decrease.
Well, the tax rate doesn't go up. The appraisal is what goes up.
Right, but even with the appraisal though, is because what you got to remember is this here. It's kind of like we get into percentage based pay raises.
Right. Right.
When you get up there, if you've got a $500,000 house, and if it goes up $200,000, reappraises at $700,000, it gets to the point where they got a lower tax rate because they didn't hit that trip percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if I remember correctly, the percentage was somewhere around about 57%.
I don't
of
remember
value.
exactly.
Yeah, but somewhere in there is when it went up. So people who have higher dollar houses, they're paying less taxes now than middle class America.
Yep.
In our county, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent, and that's a disturbing issue in my personal opinion.
You brought up tax, salary increases, pay raises. The city and the county are different. When the city gives a 3% raise to employees, every employee gets 3% raise of what they're currently making.
Right.
In the county, if we were to give a raise to them, that say 3%, that 3% goes to each elected official, road supervisor, trustee. They can give that out as they please.
Right, they can disperse it out.
They don't have to give everybody
Right.
3% increase.
Right, means in other words, what Jack's saying, so y'all understand, is if their salary is, let's just say the road supervisor, we're talking about that there. So if the road department's salaries budget is $1 million, they get a 3% increase. That's a $30,000 raise.
Mm-hmm.
That means Steve, the road superintendent, can disperse that 3% out wherever he wants
He
to.
wants to, yeah.
Yeah,
If he wants to give a raise, if he wants to give somebody a 5%, I don't know how they do it. I've never asked. It's none of my business.
Right, and that's one of the things that people, there's a difference between how the county and city governments operate.
Oh, yes.
And I think people kind of lose track of that sometimes. Alrighty. Next question I got for you is, we've heard now about, we know in 2029 the wheel tax is coming off.
Mm-hmm.
And
If it comes off.
as far as I know, that has a sunset on it.
That was voted in long before I was ever a county commissioner.
Yeah, and you're right about that. But what I've been told, and I haven't gone back through because I don't have the minutes that far back. But I believe when that resolution was established, that there was a sunset clause on that there, that once the jail was paid off, that $40 tax gets kicked off.
Right.
Now we're hearing about possibly continuing that same $40 wheel tax to do roads with it.
That would depend on what the price of paving continues to be. If it continues to be $160,000, $170,000 a mile, we may have to, in order to keep our roads just passable. What I've seen traveling around Henderson County, there are more potholes on state roads than there are county roads and city roads.
I won't argue none with that there. And I'll say this here. I mean, that's 22. It hasn't been, 4 or 5 years ago it was repaved?
Mm-hmm.
And since I've been here, in the 12 to 13 years that I've been here, it was recently repaved when I moved here. And I know it's been repaved twice. Now I'm talking about from I-40 down into Lexington.
I think that problem was not holding up. Is they used to chip that stuff, the old pavement up, and mix it back in with the hot mix.
Right.
I think they've stopped that. I don't know if that's a state law, but I think it stopped, because you notice when they pave and it's nice and black and you can see the lines, it doesn't take it a month to turn brown again.
Right. Well, and I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I think that I can't say that for a fact, but the last time they paved, there was a train.
Yeah,
It's this long ass train, and it's like they're cutting the pavement and
feeding it right
repaving
back
it
in.
all right back in all in one shot.
The last time they paved 22 South, they did that, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're.
That's the only one I've ever seen.
I would think if they're doing that, then they're cutting up the old pavement
Oh,
and mixing it
They
back
mixed
in.
it back in.
Yeah, it ain't working, whatever it is.
Well, that's true, and I don't. That's something I need to ask about. I do know some people that have used that have bought some of that stuff to pave their driveways. I did that when several years ago. We bought 4 acres out at 22 South and Mount Moriah Road, and I had the driveway out there paved with that, and just ran over it with a backhoe. And I haven't been out there in years, but I would imagine it's still good.
Yeah, well, that's
it's a lot cheaper.
yeah, and I'll say this here. I mean, coming into Lexington, I mean, driving through Lexington, there's so much work being done, pretty much from Hall Street to 412, that section in there, there's constantly work being done, and the roads are. We get it paved, and then it's like 2-3 weeks later, we're dealing with, or 2 or 3 months later, there's a repair that needs to be done. Why on earth we don't coordinate something where when that's going to happen, just go in there and just.
I'm seeing a lot of these little yellow flags in all over town in different spots. That's wastewater, and my guess is that they're just locating that line.
Is that wastewater or gas?
I was thinking it was wastewater. There was a chart. It may be gas.
I think it's gas because we've got some yellow signs out here, and all we've got is gas and water.
We had one, and it went from one side of our yard to the other, but nowhere else. And shortly after that, they put in a sewer tap across the street, in the street, in front of the people, because their sewer tap or a septic tank or whatever they had was in their backyard. And I know they had been over there 2 or 3 times, but and I don't know if I don't know.
And that's something too, and understand what Jack's talking about. There's a septic system inside the city.
Yes.
And I remember this here back when there was discussion over the Cecil McNatt properties.
Mm-hmm.
That if people had septic tanks, I think the city offered to, if they get on, I don't think they joined on the septic system as much as what happened was, and you might remember this here, that the city would take care of maintaining their septic systems for them. They didn't attach to the city system, but the city would maintain it. They just pay a regular bill like everybody else did. Is that correct?
I'm not familiar with out there, but at West Point, they put it in there, and I believe it was 2005, and everybody had a septic tank. But then, I think a few years later, or maybe that was its time, they started putting sewer in, and they gave them the option to. I'm not sure if the city would maintain the tank, or maybe they just had a choice. Tim Rhodes could probably tell you that if they had an option to either keep their septic tank and maintain it themselves, or get on the sewer line.
Right. Okay. All right.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I remember something about it. I thought it was.
I'm not. That's been 4 years since I've been with the city. So.
Yeah. And I don't. It's. I can't remember exactly when that was done. Now I've got a message that came in. Please ask Jack about the roads. When does he think something will get done?
Again, I'll go back to what I said earlier. We will start working on the budget on the 14th. Is we got a call meeting and that'll be our first discussion on the budget. And it's just going to depend on how much it costs us.
Well, the upside is right now gas prices are so high, we're paying a lot more in tax. I might kick money back into the roads.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it'll be much, but I mean, anything's better than
That's true.
At least having to pay these high gas prices. I mean, it goes back
Yeah.
in, and I think that's something too. So y'all can understand some. I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that. There is gas tax. That's where most of our funding comes to pave roads,
Mm-hmm.
and when gas prices are higher now, and I know I'll probably upset people about it, but when the Democrats are in office, gas prices are higher. Well, guess what? We get more money from roads because when the gas prices are higher, there's more taxes collected. When Republicans get office, we're happy to see gas prices go back down, but then we collect less sales tax on gas, and therefore we can't get as much roads done. So there's a give and take there, just so everybody understands how that actually operates. I don't want anybody
Exactly.
to misinterpret that there. Now, I do have another question that came up. Okay, Mr. James, if you don't vote in the primary, can you still vote in the general election? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, you can. And
Or you can vote in both.
yeah, you can vote in both if you want to. What the primary is the Republican primary. Now, the upside to this here is voting in this here for the time being, because the state's looking at making changes. You vote in the Republican primary, you're going to pretty much have a chance to vote for candidates that's going to affect you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give some. I don't know which district somebody is, but let's just sit there and say, in Jack's district, if you vote in 6, I know there's you, Gary, Tabitha Derryberry, Trent Harris is in there,
Trent Harris.
and isn't there one more?
One more. I think his name's Adams, isn't it?
I can't remember, but I believe there's 5. And
There is 5.
so what happens there is you're electing 2 county commissioners. Now what happens is there's nobody running against in the general election. Again, there's no independents or Democrats running in the general election. So when they don't run in the general election, whoever wins in the primary, those are your next commissioners.
That's the next commissioners.
So in that scenario there, if you wanted to vote if you wanted Jack to be your commissioner, yeah, you could vote. Let's say he's got to win the primary first. So casting a vote in the primary does play a part in certain things. I believe there's only 2 elections that will be 2 of the races that will be resolved in the general election. That is the mayor's race, because Blake Mitchell is running as an independent.
Right.
So he's not going to be on your May 5th primary. Blake's going to, whoever wins the mayor's position in the May 5th primary, they will have to go against Blake in the general on August 6th.
Right.
And then I believe there's one of the constable positions that's got a Republican and an independent.
I don't know.
I believe that's correct, but we'll have to go back and check into that there.
I'm not sure about that.
So anyway, I hope that helps answer your question there, because there's some other stuff that's been coming out. There's conversations that's going on about changes in the city election. Have you seen the conversation about that?
I saw something on Google yesterday, or I think it was yesterday. The Republicans in the state, they're talking about making the municipal elections
Align with the
partisan
partisan
elections.
Right, and just so y'all know, I believe it's the state constitution that establishes that municipal elections are nonpartisan.
Yes.
So there would have to be, the legislature would actually have to take and make a constitutional change, which, if I'm correct, that's going to require a referendum vote.
Yes.
So
There's also another thing that might be of interest to people. Representative Chris, I can't remember his last name.
over in Madison County,
What's his
Chris
last?
Todd.
Now I don't remember for sure, but he's presented to the legislature up there to do away with property taxes and increase sales tax.
Right.
And I kind of got mixed feelings about that.
I initially was all on board that there, but Blake kind of gave me a way to look at it. And I think he made a very valuable point when he said, he said the problem with that there when you eliminate property taxes is people would have no incentive to sell. Uh, and I'll say it this way here: if you're sitting on a piece of property that ain't costing you a penny, what motivation do you have? Now, if you're sitting on a piece of property that you're spending $2,000 or $3,000 a year paying taxes on, then you may have some, you may have some motivation to sell. And on top of that, let's go back in here. Let's say, old broke man like me, I can't afford to go out there and buy a piece of land, and so, a rich man comes up in here and says, "Well, that piece of property's up for sale. I'm going to buy it. I ain't got to pay property tax. I'll just buy it and sit on it." And eventually, they can kind of corner the market there and buy up all the available land that's for sale, and it could stifle growth. So yeah, Blake brought me up that I didn't think about it, but I'm like you. I've got mixed feelings on it.
I would like to see the city and the county do away with property taxes once you reach age 65, or if you're disabled, and maybe even for retired veterans.
I wouldn't argue that there. I kind of see that.
And that's something that I'm going to bring up this year if I'm reelected, and I may bring it up before that time. And this is, there are so many people out there, especially the older people, that they're drawing $650, $800 a month. I don't know how they live.
I don't either.
I don't know what they take out of Social Security. It's $312, something like that.
It's crazy, and I mean, heck, almost utilities alone is getting to the point where it eats up half of your Social Security.
Especially if you live out in the county, because
you're paying more money.
Y'all are paying a premium price for the same lines, and I never have understood that.
I don't understand it either, but you're right. I mean, we're paying more for everything.
One great thing that's happening or going to happen is the ambulance service at Scotts Hill. That's something that's badly needed.
It's been needed for a long time.
Yes, I worked for the ambulance service for a year and a half, and that seems like a long trip down there, and even we'd go to places that wouldn't take 5 minutes, and people would just be mad because we've waited 30 minutes on you. And I've been in a situation with my wife that way too.
Yeah, it's
never fast enough.
No, you're right about that there. Alrighty, I got one last question, and this one here's going to be a little bit confrontational.
Okay,
all right.
I'm on for that.
This question was asked earlier, and I'm just going to read it as it was stated. Give me just a second here because I got to get back into it right quick. This is when we did the initial post for the hidden agenda tonight, and this was actually asked by a couple of people. Well, I can say the questions were asked by a couple of people, but it was commented on. All right. I just want to know why he blocks people that doesn't have the same opinion as him. And I'm just going to go ahead and elaborate here. I don't want the BS answer that he hasn't blocked anyone. We know that isn't true. He should be able to have an answer to my question, opinion, with doubt or fact instead of blocking. With that said, he would never get my vote because of that. Okay, so let me. I want to get up in here, and I'm not trying to jump in on Jack because we're going to let Jack answer this here as well. But I'm going to say something, and you're probably not going to like it either. Jack ain't no spring chicken. I mean, let's just get down to the nuts and bolts of it. And Jack has personally asked me for help. Come to my shop, and you're right. Jack's got a lot of people blocked, and I know this started back with the FYI page you used to have.
No, that's not what I'm not blocking people. I'm blocking people like the ads. Somebody that's you may not get them, but you get these things from women. There's a woman, and I don't know where this woman's from, but she's posted probably 10 times with the same picture with a different name.
Right.
That kind of thing. About 10 years ago, I guess it was, I got hacked on my computer. I can't remember exactly how many friends or contacts I had at that time, but it was locked up, and I had to redo it completely. Had to start again. There was a. I do know about 2 days later, they got my phone. At that time, I had over 1,600 phone numbers in my phone.
Okay.
When I got it back on my phone, I think I had maybe 600, and on my that Facebook, when it came back, the original, it came back after I had already started a new page, and I tried to go back to it, but it showed I had 12 friends, so I wasn't going to use that one, so I deactivated it. But because for a long time I kept getting messages. It says message on Facebook, but it was going to spam, and that was that old account. So I finally deactivated that. I've tried to answer that on there. I don't block. Listen, if I blocked everybody that disagreed with me, I wouldn't be on Facebook. You and I have disagreed a lot.
Yeah, and you're right about that. I mean, we bumped heads, but we disagreed, and we just keep on moving along and get to the next one.
I got hacked again about 3.5 years ago. I do know that I had 1,603 contacts. When I finally got it worked on and got it back, I think I had 450 something contacts then. It didn't bother my phone at all. Right now, I can't get on Facebook on my computer. I can only get on my Facebook, and it's been worked on. I can only get on my Facebook on my phone. Now I'm down to the last time it was hacked. I had 1,603. And now it started when I got that back. It was maybe 500 or 600. I'm back up to nearly 800 friends now. But this is not my fault. I'm not blocking people. I don't. Well, I'll start to say I don't see that I'm blocking people, because if they're blocked, I know it shows that people. I have gone through my block list, and I don't recognize them. I've got some people blocked that are not from here. That's where most of my people, but not from Henderson County.
Okay, and I remember going through and
You saw
it had been what 3 or 4 weeks ago. You came up to the shop and the problem was the way I guess because just the sheer number that's up there, you pull it up and it showed like 20. Mm-hmm. And then you couldn't go no further. You couldn't page down, you couldn't load anymore until you started deleting some. So we started deleting some, then you can go down, you can find a few more.
But I
actually, I'm sorry, we had to reinstate some.
Okay, well I got on my computer.
Okay.
And finally found a way that I could scroll at, I could control the speed.
Right.
And I went through every one of them, and the people that we've talked about, their names were not there.
Okay, all right.
And I've done that twice. I stayed up till 5 o'clock one morning, 3 o'clock one morning, just to double check it.
Did your old buddies get to sleep?
Yeah.
I get to sleep at 9 o'clock.
Did you throw this stink bug on me?
Well, you know how it is. Well, anyway, we got that question answered, and that's the. Let me see here. Amanda just commented. I can't see when Jack comments on this page even, so I'm obviously blocked.
Who's that?
Amanda Gywers. So it may be there's some situations there, and
I will look. I'll write Amanda's.
And I can take and show you, because Jack can go back in on the video and look at the comments to see if he can see anybody.
There's a Beth Bird or Beth Snyder said that the utility prices are absolutely ridiculous. Well, I'm no longer on the board of aldermen, so I have no control over that.
Yeah, and she's right about that.
I didn't, and I
Yeah,
agree
but-
with you. Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. You're not on the board. Have no control over that.
We're taxed to death, Beth says. No more taxes, no new event center. Utilize what we got. Yeah, that brings up another thing. People say that we don't have anywhere to go, and they talk about bowling alleys. We've had 2 bowling alleys here.
Didn't survive, did it?
Both of them didn't survive. I don't know. You know, people talk about bringing such and such in here to for kids to do. The
Government don't need to be
the
doing it.
government doesn't. If we can't afford that, we're
No.
having trouble struggling right now. I know the cities and the county. I'll say this: the county's in good financial shape.
Right.
We're not going to raise taxes. We're not going to have a pay raise this year for FY 26-27. And we certainly can't afford to get into the entertainment business.
No.
And
Now, and I'm going to say something here because I'm going to go back to was it FY 23-24 or 24-25? Let me see here. The same year that the city submitted the 74-cent property tax increase.
that was 23-24.
23-24. I believe you're right about that. So fiscal year 24.
Yes.
The
Mine almost doubled.
Now, when that tax came across, when it was presented, I know there was some upset people about it, and
Oh, yeah.
I was definitely one of them too. But also at the same time when that happened, I'm trying to see if I can find something in my notes here. Actually, when that happened as well, the county had a a 27-cent proposed property tax increase.
We didn't do it because the city had proposed that 78 cents, and Mayor McCready said he probably would have raised taxes 27 cents, but we couldn't. The people in the city and everybody in the county, they couldn't afford more on top of that 78 cents. It probably would have been raised had
Right,
well,
and that,
it would have been brought up. I wouldn't have voted for it. It
right,
was-
and that's what kind of kills me is, I mean, and like I said, I mean, I know where you stood, and I mean, your voting record shows it. Even in the city, when you're in the city, I mean, you always voted against property tax
I
increases.
did. And
So
I will
yeah,
continue to.
I get where you are there, but that's one of the things that kind of bugs me is, it's kind of like, well, let's not talk about that here. We're in an election year. But yeah, the county did propose a 27-cent property tax increase the same year that the city proposed a 74-cent property tax increase. And you are right. The property tax increase didn't go through
I don't
because
think we ever voted on it. I don't think he
no, it got voted down.
did.
Yeah, it
I
got
don't
voted.
remember that. I was thinking he just took it off.
No, it got voted down. It went through because there's. I mean, let me not say that there. You may be right. Maybe there was never a vote
I
taken
don't think
on it.
he ever put it on the agenda.
Well, it was discussed in the meeting
Yes.
because there was a counter come back in. I think like 3 or 5 cent was kind of thrown out there as well. But I don't think any action was taken on it. I have to go back through the notes. I've got I got a bunch of research to do still.
If cities and county, if Henderson County and Lexington had started 25 years ago or 40 years ago, raising taxes a penny every year, we wouldn't noticed it, and our coffers would be full.
Yeah.
Both.
You know what? I'm going to say no, and I'm going to tell
You
you the
don't
reason.
think
No. You give them that penny in money, they're going to spend it.
More.
They're going to find a way to spend it.
Well, that's come from. That's because of who you vote for.
And that's it. That's exactly it. So whoever you put in office,
You need to vote for somebody like me, a conservative Republican.
That's yeah. That's yeah.
I've been a Republican since I was 8 years old. Went to my first governor's conference. My daddy took me, and I caught politics, and I can't get rid of it.
But you wanted to see the governor the other day, didn't you?
Well, I went up there and we met face to face and kind of shook hands.
So nobody knew about him coming into town.
Well, I got a text, I believe.
Yeah, you're a commissioner though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I had people walk by there. Actually, when it was all going on, call me. It's like, what the heck's going on at Maine and Monroe? The governor's there.
They probably couldn't have gotten in. It was full, both sides, I think.
Well, I mean, if they would known earlier, they could have got there and pitched a tent, and camped out on the sidewalk. Maybe.
brought his school bus or whatever. Oh, there wasn't a parking place on Court Square.
Yeah, I know. That's affected my business on parking spots. We need more parking spots. Anyway, that goes to all the questions that we've got. Amanda's got a closing comment here. Never had an issue with Jack. Randy and I have always supported you.
I appreciate that.
So anyway, that's what I've got as far as questions. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip down my camera, and I'm going to let Jack make a sales pitch to you to get your vote. Hold on just 1 second. It's all yours, brother.
Thank you, James, and folks out there, ladies and gentlemen. I love my job. I love trying to help people, and I would like to continue that for 4 more years. I'm very honored to be served. It is an honor, and I've told everybody that's ever held a political office that it is an honor to be elected. I am, as I just said, a very conservative Republican. A U.S. Air Force veteran, if that makes any difference to you. I'm very loyal. One of my hang-ups is when I see a ragged flag around town, I stop and I say, "Hey, you need to get a new flag." And maybe that's not anything to do with politics. I've tried to vote to. As I said before, no tax increases, because I have to pay them too. That's your money and our money. And I know there are people struggling, and we haven't always been. We're not rich, but I can remember being poor. I can remember wearing ragged clothes and eating what was put on the table or not eating. But that's all I can do is just tell you I will continue to do what I've done in every office I've ever been in. I will continue to vote for the people. I'm not just when I was a mayor, when I was a city mayor, and when I was on the city board, I was not just I was there for the people, everybody in the city. I still get calls right now from people in the city needing help, and I call my friend Tim Rhodes or Donna Ross. But I feel the same way. Just because I'm a 6th district commissioner doesn't mean that I just help the people in the 6th district. I'm here for all 7 districts. And anytime you need to contact me, you can call 731-845-6250. And my Facebook is Jack Johnson 1940 at yahoo.com. Or, well, I can't get that down on anything but my phone. But feel free to call me, 731-845-6250. I'll talk to you. I appreciate if you didn't call me at midnight, but I will be glad to help you. Text me, call me, whatever you need. I'm there for you. That's the reason I am just thrilled to look for. I searched for the job that I love for years and years and years, and I finally found it when I ran for mayor of Lexington. And I already caught politics then, folks. I already caught it. So I appreciate your vote. Early voting is April 15th through the 30th, and election day is August the 8th, is it? Or the 5th?
May 5th.
No, May 5th is.
May 5th is the primary. August 6th is the
August
general.
6th is, and I would sure appreciate your vote. And thank y'all for all tuning in tonight. And like I say, if you need me, give me a call. I'm there.
Alrighty, well that gets us finished up for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tomorrow, now this is going to be in the middle of the day, at noon, the Industrial Development Board will be meeting, and we will be there live streaming because there's a couple things up there that I'm interested in. Number one is there's going to be a discussion about this $5 million grant that we told it had no match. And that's actually listed up there on the minutes as discuss approve. So I'm wondering if the Industrial Development Board is going to approve this thing here. And again, as we know, according to Mayor Wildridge, there is a 50-50 match. So that means the city's going to have to come up with $2.5 million to cover this grant. The second thing there is I've heard about the fact that the Industrial Board, they haven't met. And yet we're hearing they're supposed to be discussing approving minutes from August 7th of last year. So I'm kind of curious to see what goes on there, because if it's true that they haven't met, who generated these minutes? And how do you get minutes if you don't have a meeting? So tune into that tomorrow at noon. If you can't catch it at noon, check it out later on. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Jack, for coming on and sharing what's going on.
Proud to be here.
Well, we appreciate it. Next week, to let you know, Monday, the city meets, the Board of Mayor of Alderman meet Monday at 6 o'clock for the utilities meeting. And at 7 o'clock next Monday, we've got Don Eubank from District 2. He's running for commissioner. And then Tuesday, the budget committee's meeting
14th.
on the 14th. Yeah, that's Tuesday. Is the budget committee meeting first? Do you know?
No, that's I can tell. I've got the agenda. I don't think it's been posted yet. I did get a message today on that the agenda is ready, and I'll pick it up tomorrow.
Okay.
And post it.
I don't know if we'll find out tomorrow if the budget committee's meeting or not. But the county commission meeting will be at 7 o'clock at the courthouse. Mm-hmm. So that'll be Tuesday, and then Thursday we got Will Davis, who's running for District 4. District 4 commissioner will be on. At this point, we've got nobody else. Like I said, we opened the door back up. Still haven't had anybody reach out. So if candidates don't want to come up here, that's on there. We can't make anybody come up here and talk to you guys and answer your questions. Anyway, that's it. Y'all have a wonderful night. We'll catch you tomorrow at noon.